Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Week 15 of the NFL season. This is Chalk Talk, where we give you the plays, the fades, and today we're going to go over a couple slates. We finally have Saturday football, and so we're going to do a brief breakdown of the Saturday days, like the 4:30 and the 8:20 game, and then we'll do a more in-depth breakdown of the Sunday main slate. This Saturday slate, I don't know, guys. To me, looks pretty ugly. I know your teams are playing, the Browns and the Colts, but man, the slate itself looks terrible. We have like 40 and like a 44-point total, or 39-point total, and like a 40. It's terrible.
Are those the total players out with COVID on the Browns, or?
I mean, both. It's that and the total of the game. But, we'll start off here. We'll start out with the early game, Las Vegas at Cleveland. Nick, we'll start off with you. Any plays there's two games, so there's definitely, you have to pick plays from basically both these games. And which ones are you going with?
Yeah, I mean, quarterback-wise, I like Mac Jones. I think he probably has the best.
No, we're talking about Las Vegas at Cleveland. We're talking about this game first.
All right. Well, I think you got to play Renfro or what?
He said hot start.
Yeah, I would play Renfro. He's like the only one doing anything on the Raiders, but Nick Chubb is probably the only starter, and I think maybe Njoku might come back. So those are really the only two playable players on the Browns. So
what are you just like heavy stacking the Colts Patriots game? Because
yeah, I don't really think I'm going to do anything with the Browns. I mean, we still don't even know if there's going to be more cases. If half the team has it, we're missing our entire offensive line. So I don't love Chubb's optimism.
We have to pick defenses too.
Yeah.
This is probably the game you're picking a defense, and if you're stacking the Patriots.
Yeah, I don't mind the Browns defense. Everyone seems to be pretty healthy there, so that's still promising. And I think they always step up when you need them to. So not a bad team. They're good for a couple sacks at least against Derek Carr. Like, they'll probably get an interception or two, which is nice. So
yeah, because he throws the ball like 45 times a game. So
only like 10, but
Corey, what do you think?
No. Derek Carr throws the ball more than anyone else.
Derek Carr throws the ball a ton.
That's what I was saying. Not Case Keenum.
I'm joking.
To be honest, Case Keenum, obviously because this news came out, and he's at 4,800. He's the lowest starting quarterback on the slate this week. Points are going to be scored. Now how many points? That's the question you got to try to figure out. But with that being said, I mean, if you're going into Saturday thinking like, okay, this Browns Raiders game is going to be a dud, and I think the Colts Patriots game is going to be more high scoring than this game, you're going to want a couple pieces and keep your salary down on the in the first game at 4:30. So
I don't even think it's necessarily like, it's just, if you can just pick if this game is a dud, if you can pick the one or two pieces that go off, maybe.
Okay. Oh yeah. So if you take Case Keenum, let's just say you put him he's at 4,800, and he finishes with the most points on the entire slate for Saturday. I mean, there's options there to tie him with. I mean, Landry's missing, then you have DPJ, Schwartz is in concussion protocol, but he should be back.
Higgins.
And then they have Hollywood Higgins as well. So it's like, if you can get that stack with Case Keenum at 4,800 and then a $3,000 receiver, that's $7,800 between two people. And I think,
I'm not sure that I would play Anthony Schwartz. I'd rather play Hollywood Higgins.
Hollywood, he's 3K. So I'm just saying, like, there's a spot there that you could definitely go with that. I think maybe people are going to overlook because they're like, the Browns are so injured, then why am I going to, waste my breath on Case Keenum? But I think it's a look to have. And then obviously Chubb is one of my favorite plays just because the amount of volume he's going to get.
Alex?
Yeah, what do we think about? I think DPJ could have a decent game here. Wide receiver one. How is the Raiders corners? Are they any good?
I mean, they've been decent against. They just don't really give up like big plays, but they give it up to the middle of the field. They're not. That's why they've been bad against like tight ends and.
But the Browns like don't have a tight end right now.
I think Njoku might play. I think he'll be maybe the only tight end active.
Was he a close contact?
He's the only one that has a chance.
Yeah.
Was he just a close contact?
I don't
He had it
he's
last
on-
week.
Yeah, he was
Last week.
so he's
Gotcha.
past now.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, Njoku is in a good spot then if you think the middle of the field's going to be open. Case Keenum's going to have to throw the ball, at least 15 times or so. So it's about figuring out where those 15 targets are going to go to. And I think Njoku and either Hollywood or DPJ are going to see those. In terms of the Vegas side, I think Renfro's priced too high to play him here. Like he'd have to go absolutely nuclear in this 2-game slate to cover that 7.3K. So I'm probably maybe like one lineup if you want to get like different and think that maybe people are going to be off of him because of his price tag. Maybe doing a couple of lineups with him in there, but generally staying away from that. And I think a defense other than that from either side probably is a decent play here. I think this game's going to be pretty high scoring, so I would pick one of these two. Defense.
Yeah, no, if between these 4 teams, I lean the Browns defense the most. I think they have the most upside.
Yeah. I mean, the Raiders just dropped 9 on the Chiefs. Like they looked bad.
I again like when we did the Thanksgiving slate breakdown, for me it's more about your roster construction than like picking individual plays. And we have to utilize late swap, which again, if you're dead in the water because you didn't, if some of the pieces, if you play multiple lineups and some of those pieces in the early games, like you're just dead, you need to get super different and swap off the chalky picks in the later game and leave tons of salary. So you at least give yourself a chance to pass people by having a unique lineup. Otherwise you're just dead, even if your good plays go off. And so with saying that, I still have some favorite plays from the early game. I mean, it's again, the defenses I think are probably better in this game than the other game, just because this does have a lower total. You have so many injuries on the Browns offensive side, which could benefit the Raiders defense, and the Raiders been playing terrible and the Browns defense is kind of the only healthy side. So they could have a good game. So I prefer the defenses in this game over the other game. But this is a slate I think you need to have exposure to every quarterback, every defense, and mix and match the receivers. I think you should honestly, if you're playing one lineup, that's great, but these are the types of slates that I recommend playing like a lot more quantity in lineups, because these types of slates, you're going to be playing with people that have so many lineups.
Yeah.
And so you're playing against, if you play one lineup, you're paying other people that are playing 150. So
better to throw 10 darts than one.
Yeah, I think this is a slate. And so by picking, all you need to do is just like kind of pick, you can just mix and match I think the receiver position specifically, because at the running back position, I'll probably lock in Jacobs and Chubb into every single lineup. And we'll get into Taylor, but this slate, Renfro is the only other option. Like you go from 7,300 and the next most expensive receiver is 5,900 at Michael Pittman. It's like you're almost like forced to just pay for the raw points on the slate, and that's going to come. I think Jacobs is probably the best overall play on the entire slate at any position. So he's my favorite. But Chubb, he's going to have to get how many times is Chubb going to get the ball?
Probably 30.
Right? Like, how would he not?
I have a question. Why don't they use D'Ernest Johnson at all? Like with
They will. No, they will, because Hunt's out, so they'll use him a little.
They'll use him a little bit.
last game.
He played like 5 snaps, but he's not relevant for DFS.
Yeah, it would be a really thin play to play D'Ernest Johnson, but
yeah, he's going to go in when Chubb's too tired, but they're not going to rotate him.
Yeah, my question was just like, why don't they? Like he went off when he got the ball as the lead back. I don't know.
I think they
Something
might
better.
play him, especially with how thin they are at their position. And then I think the tight ends, like I said, I think all the tight ends. I think the thing is, I think on this slate, all the quarterbacks, the tight ends, and defenses, you just mix and match a bunch of pieces. Running backs, I think you just lock in all these raw point guys, and receiver, you mix and match. And in this game, my favorite receivers are. I kind of like Zay Jones because isn't your safety out, Nick?
Ronnie Harrison, he might. Let me look at the COVID list.
The John, what's his name? Johnson.
Oh, John Johnson. Yeah,
he's going to
for
be
sure
out, and Greg
And Troy
Newsome
Hill.
and Troy Hill.
Yeah,
So
Newsome
I
has a
think,
concussion.
I think one of Deshaun Jackson or Zay Jones is going to be like one of my leans on like my favorite like punt receiver spot. So that's kind of, and then yeah, obviously Higgins and DPJ, they're going to be more popular because that's the only people that really Keenum has to throw to. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of where I'm at on this game. Yeah. So next game, we have the Patriots at Colts. Again, another low total, but it's a little bit probably higher scoring than the other game. We'll start off with Corey on this one.
Why me?
Because you're a Colts fan.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I think the plays here are very interesting because so obviously in the Cleveland game, all the receiver options are sub 3K or they're the minimum price they can go for receivers. I have a play here that I think can be a little bit sneaky. It's because Zach Pascal has looked pretty bad for the Colts. He's dropping passes. He just, in the beginning of the year, he looked great. And I don't know what happened between now and then, but he's slowly digressed and has looked worse and worse and worse each week. And the Colts have a couple guys behind him that probably deserve that third spot besides him. And one of those guys is going to be Ashton Doolin. He's 3,100. I understand he's not getting targeted. I mean, in the entire year, he has he has 12 receptions. So take that with a grain of salt. He probably has 15 targets.
He's their Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah. So he's he's a speedy guy. He's scored in the last 3 weeks. I'm not saying he's the issue with him is that he's not getting the volume. And if Zach Pascal has another quarter where he's not catching the ball, he's dropping it, I could see the Colts moving Ashton Doolin in and coming in for more plays and getting more snap count. So it's a very long shot that Ashton Doolin could outscore Higgins or Schwartz or DPJ. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying for this lineup, you have to get different somewhere. And if you're playing, if you're playing one lineup, do not do this where you're throwing Ashton Doolin into one of your receiving roles. But if you're playing 10 lineups at the 25-cent tournament, I mean, it deserves at least a spot to look at for him.
He's a guy who could cover his price.
I mean, it also depends on your bank. If you're playing if you're max entering the Millie Maker, I mean,
don't do that.
Probably have a lot. No, max entering the Millie Maker, you have money. That means you're rich, and so you can make a 20. You can put a $20 Doolin lineup in there, and it wouldn't matter.
But so I'm just saying, it's something to look at. If you are playing multiple lineups, I do it. T.Y. Hilton, he's T.Y. He doesn't have the same speed as he did. He does have the sure hands. It's just, can he get open? I'm not sure if he can, break the top off the defense like he used to. But obviously my favorite play, and I think, it's Jonathan Taylor. He's 9,200. Even he's the most expensive person on DraftKings this entire.
He'll be what? Yeah. What do you think? What do you think he'd be over 90% owned?
He's going to be at least 85% owned.
Yeah.
So
but that's the thing. I honestly think you just play. There's no you're leaving so much salary if you don't play him, and for what? There's not other spots that
it's two games. 14.
Yeah. It's I don't think you're. I just think you have to play him almost.
No, I mean, and the thing is that he's paid off his salary almost every single week, maybe except for like one or two where
But
I know for him to pay off his salary, what he
no,
gets,
he could score. If it's this isn't the main slate. He doesn't need. He could score. He could be in the winning lineup with 15 points. Because again, when we're on a 2-game slate, it's about raw points. It's not. It's always about raw points, even in the main slate. But in a 2-game slate, you're not like having to like 3x or 4x your salary. Like you don't need Jonathan Taylor to get like 35. He literally, it's possible if this is a low scoring slate, he could get 15 fantasy points and be in the winning lineup.
okay, all right, I'll give you that.
You know what I mean?
But-
Like that's why
I
you
totally
almost need it.
understand. But then comparing to quarterbacks, I think out of both of them, I mean, Mac Jones, he doesn't really do like a whole lot put up points wise. Again, we talked about he's a game manager and he does it very well. Carson Wentz has a rushing upside that I think has to be looked at. He will run the ball. He's probably the best rushing quarterback on this 2-game slate. So if I was going to play a quarterback, I just like Wentz better at home, in a dome and with the rushing upside. So
I think he's definitely got a higher ceiling
mhm.
than Mac.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. One of the things, PB, that you touched on in last show was the tight ends on the New England side. You want to take those guys away?
Yeah, these are some of my I'm gonna be playing. Actually, the one group of tight ends I won't be playing out of all these teams is the Colts, because the Patriots are very good at shutting down tight ends. And I just think the other tight ends are in much better spots. Like Njoku's 2,800. He's underpriced for his role. And then you have what I think in this bye week with Belichick. I think his whole games plan going into this is going to be utilizing his tight ends. Belichick loves to show teams that he can just beat teams in any way, shape, or form. And he's going to say, yeah, I signed these 2 tight ends. Last time we played, we just ran the ball every play. We beat the Bills. Now we're just going to play these tight ends, and that'll probably be something unexpected, or I don't know. I just think Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith are going to be heavily utilized in this game. It's one of the biggest weak spots of the Colts defense, and I'm sure Belichick is aware of that. Now thinking about it, I don't even think you need to, for example, we talked about Case Keenum in the last game at 4,800. Honestly, I think my favorite quarterback plays are just Carson Wentz and Derek Carr, because you don't need salary savings on the slate. Like you can fit in Taylor, Jacobs, Nick Chubb, and the Wentz or Carr and still get in whatever pieces you want really at receiver, tight end, and defense. Like there's no worries about salary on the slate because it's so bad. And so that just kind of seeing this, I think I prefer Wentz and Carr the most.
Yeah, I mean, Mac Jones is only like $600 more than Case Keenum. So
yeah, I just,
to me, that kind of
Keenum is so
like,
depleted. It's like, why are we going to even bother wasting the lineup on
you don't
Keenum?
need to do that.
No. And so Taylor, I already said he's like a lock to me. I'll probably have him in all my lineups. And then the receivers, I don't know, since if I'm not paying for Renfro, which I think that's kind of like the fade I'm going to make, because I think paying $500 more for Nick Chubb is better. Even though Renfro's been so good and just racking up PPR points. I prefer Pittman, I think, and then Jacoby Myers. And then Zach Pascal is probably like my favorite cheap guy from this game. I think Doolin, might be a little too thin. I think Pascal will be low owned enough to where he at least plays more.
Yeah, I actually don't like Pittman here because he's got, I think, the highest graded cornerback.
Well, yeah, he'll be on Jackson, but
JC Jackson.
JC Jackson doesn't shadow, does he?
He's going to have to face him at least a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't know. Pittman just he even saw some rushing attempts last week. He's kind of involved.
He's almost a night, almost getting to that point where he's so big. He's almost a nightmare, matchup nightmare, where he's just like
a Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say he's Mike Evans right now, but the way he's progressed this year, he's looked really good. Quick little thing, just to go through like what I just did within like a minute. This lineup: Wentz, Taylor, Chubb, Pittman, Higgins. I threw in Zach, but that can be changed. Hunter Henry, Josh Jacobs, Browns defense, and I left 900 on the board. I mean, obviously, what that is, I mean, that's gonna be very duplicated. Which
Yeah, right. You don't want to do that. That could be like a, I won't be
I know,
playing cash
but what we're
games,
just
but
saying is like that you
You
can
can-
fit
Yeah.
everyone in there like without.
is
Yeah.
it possible? I'm just gonna see if you can create a lineup with.
I think the
Renfro.
key for this is, I mean, 2-game slate that's even less than the Thanksgiving. Like, even on the Thanksgiving, it was like, all right, who's your leverage? Because, like you're gonna have to pick the guy that's.
Oh, you need, yeah, you need
low-owned.
leverage.
Yeah, so I think, but it's even more important, I think, for these 2-game set, this
Oh,
two-game
yeah.
set than it would be, in a Millie Maker where we value that pretty high evenly. So
And the way you get leverage on these 2-game slates is leaving salary, like a lot of it. Like you could leave like, I don't know, 3,000. That's fine, perfectly fine. And the other thing is like, yeah, I mean, Doolin is even on a 2-game slate will probably be like 1% owned or something crazy like that. So it's about finding those, super low owned plays. But I'm just quickly seeing if what a lineup looks like, because right now I have Taylor, Chubb, Jacobs, Renfro. If you put like the Raiders D in there, Njoku, who's like one of the cheaper tight ends, you could fit in not like pretty much every expensive guy on the slate, because I just put in all the most expensive running backs and Renfro and Njoku, and you could still make a Keenum lineup or a Mac Jones lineup.
It's crazy.
But I mean, you could do anything on this slate. But yeah, I think Renfro is the one to fade because he'll be really popular on this slate too. And I don't think you can play all the popular running backs with him. I think you kind of got to choose for ownership purposes.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Huge games, big games, and it's gonna be fun. And if you're doing showdown slates, I think I'd recommend, if you don't have a huge bankroll, then just play showdown slates and just get different there.
Yeah. Oh, stacking. Make sure you stack like this. These quarterbacks aren't mobile. This is a slate. You don't.
The most mobile.
Yeah, but it is like this is a slate. If you're not stacking, you're just stupid and you're not playing these slates right. Like if you're playing Derek Carr, you're playing a minimum of 2 pass catchers. Like your minimum of 2. If you're playing Wentz, a minimum of 2. Same with the other guys. You're making a minimum of 2 pass catchers with them. So that's just the last thought on this. But yeah, now we'll go ahead and break down the main slate. Everyone have that pulled up?
Yeah. First game is Dallas at Giants.
Yep. So we got Dallas at Giants. We'll start off with Alex. What do you think here?
Dak at his lowest price of the season is probably my favorite QB play on this whole slate. I think the Giants have a couple of good defenders, but I think Dak is due for a good game. Jerry Jones has been saying he's slumping, which I mean, he hasn't been putting out great numbers, but he's also been not doing horrible, I don't think. But he hears that, obviously, right? Like Jerry's going on the radio saying that, and it's getting picked up everywhere. So I think this is a big game for him and for the Cowboys. Basically, other than Zeke and Pollard, all their pass catchers are healthy. All the top 4 guys on that team are playing together, probably for one of the first couple games this season. So I love Dak in this spot again at his lowest price of the entire season.
Yeah, I think with those healthy Giants receivers, Sterling Shepard kind of has always been a number 1 there. I mean, Galladay hasn't done a whole ton, but for 4,700, he kind of, if Danny Dimes plays, I think he
won't play.
He might be. Yeah, that hurts my case for this, but
it'll be Glennon.
Never mind. I like Tony Pollard in this one though.
Okay,
that's going to be my leverage, I think, for this week. High upside. He's kind of slowing down.
Kind of expensive.
He's 15, and he didn't.
I don't think a lot of people are going to play him.
You're right about that.
he just doesn't get the volume there.
Yeah, it's on the what is this? How big of a slate is this? Like
12.
11.
Wait, no. So there's 14
11.
games.
there's 14 on the main slate.
11.
No,
It's 11.
It's like
11.
11, yeah, 11 game slate. Pollard is, man, that's gonna be tough, Nick.
This is gonna be a fun week because there's gonna be not a lot of lineups duplicated here with.
No,
Not
this is
game.
such a, if this is gonna be as ownership projections roll in, like a player is gonna be super chalky and high owned. This is such a good week to fade chalky plays because there's so many good plays. Just there's gonna be so much COVID news probably this week with value opening up. You're just gonna be able to play lots of variations of lineups. So I would recommend not playing like the chalkiest plays.
No, true. But from this game, I like the Cowboys defense 3,600. Even if Mike Glennon is okay, he's not carrying an injury tag anymore. But I mean, the entire wide receiver core of the Giants is hurt, banged up, or have COVID. I think this is a good spot for Dallas to put it on the Giants, division rivals, put up a lot of points. I understand it's in New York. Giants play a little bit better at home, but I mean, like Alex said, you can go anywhere with these receiving options with Dak. Obviously, I'm going to lean more Gallup and Cooper. I think there's other plays at wide receiver position than CeeDee and Lamb if you're paying 7,400. That's just my personal opinion. And then moving down, Schultz is interesting. I would like him more if one of the other receiving options was missing. I mean, last week he was like
He gets so little volume when they're all three healthy.
I know, and they had him at $5,500 for his salary. They bumped him back down to 4,900, so it's a little bit interesting. But again, it's a dart throw, and I think I would go elsewhere with tight end. But those are my thing.
Yeah, I like Dak a lot this week. I think he's a very good quarterback play, but I just don't know if the Giants can keep this close enough to keep, Dak's gas on the pedal. So I don't necessarily think I would double stack Dak. I would only single stack him and in this game. So I would do I prefer I prefer Cooper and Lamb in this, but I probably prefer Lamb just because I think Cooper is going to see a little bit more of James Bradbury. Although I think Cooper is fine. I think he'll win that matchup. Really, I think Cooper is so good, and I don't think that matchup is as big of an issue for him as some other guys that face him. And my favorite run back, if I played a Dak line, is probably Saquon. He has not really. I mean, he scored a touchdown last week, but just doesn't have that burst he used to have. But I mean, he's a reasonable price tag. That he's probably my favorite run back in this game, and then I like the Cowboys defense as well. But yeah, that's about it from that game. Next game we have Houston going into Jacksonville. I don't think we need to talk about this game for too long. We'll start with Nick. Any plays from here?
No. Next.
pass.
We're every week we're like, I guess you could play Brandon Cooks. We don't need to do it again. Let's just skip it.
Pass.
You pass. I think there is one play, but Corey,
All right, throw out the one play and that's it.
Can I guess your one play, PB?
It's pretty. It's not like some crazy play.
David Johnson.
No, the other side.
What did you say? David Johnson?
James
No,
Robinson.
It's
is your
James
play.
Robinson
Yeah.
because Carlos Hyde. Look how cheap they put Robinson at now.
Yeah, 5,400. Well,
Because Urban hates him. He doesn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
play.
Carlos Hyde's probably not playing this week. I think he's banged up or COVID or something.
concussed.
What
But
is it?
he's concussed. But
Yeah, concussion. Yeah. So
Yeah.
if James Robinson is getting a full workload versus the Texans at 5,400, yeah, I'm gonna play some of James Robinson.
I mean, you can go where you want. I mean, you can literally throw anything at this game, and I don't think you're getting anything in return. Like Dave, yeah, you can play Robinson, but 5,400, I'd rather go somewhere else with a back that splits.
Dude, even when Carlos Hyde played last week, he still only got 6 attempts.
Yeah, I think he might have left last game or something, but I don't know. If you look at some of his early games when he was getting 15, 18 attempts and 5 targets, and this is just such a good matchup. I'm gonna play some James Robinson this week. Like I actually really, especially if Carlos hides out, like he's one of my top running back plays. I think
I do like my only other pick from this game would be, I know we talked about it maybe last week, Marvin Jones. I know it's Trevor Lawrence, and Trevor Lawrence was really bad. Last time they played, he had 9 receptions. Granted,
Last time this game
was week one.
was a shootout.
Yeah, I know. It was week 1. Marvin Jones, 9 targets, 5 receptions, 77, and 1 touchdown. So and last week he had 7 targets, 6 receptions, and he only had, he had 70 yards. So I'm kind of intrigued by Marvin Jones, but I wouldn't go Shenault. I wouldn't go really Cooks either. I think at the price I can get away with playing Marvin Jones there and expect his return. So, but I think we should move on from this.
Yep. I don't mind the defenses in either game of that one either, just because both of them can be terrible, and they're both in the 2K range. Next game, we have Tennessee going into Pittsburgh. We'll start out with Corey on this one.
This might be my favorite quarterback play of the week.
Really?
I
don't mind it. He's in my pool.
He's 5,600, and last week against a better defense, he put up like 320 and 3 touchdowns and an interception. Granted, he looked very bad in the first half of that game, and I think the only reason why he looked better is because the Vikings were playing prevent, trying not to let him score, and he got a couple short field positions they took advantage of. But I mean, even with how bad Big Ben's been, Deontay Johnson is 7,500. He's one of the most expensive receivers on the slate. I mean, he's earned it, but I know he has, and he's been good. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can get away with playing Big Ben at 5,600 and stack him back with Deontay Johnson, and then
Big Ben's a quarterback though that I almost think you have to like double stack because of.
You definitely do, because I think the only way he gets there, and I love pairing him with Freiermuth. I think Freiermuth is a smaller,
they have like 5 targets that they consistently go to, and like 2 of them are like Ray McLeod and James Washington.
It's Deontay Johnson, Claypool in order. It's Johnson, Claypool, Freiermuth, then like McLeod, Washington, or no Najee.
Washington scored a touchdown last game. Like
but he doesn't have a high target share at all.
Okay, well the other thing is how much time is Claypool going to play this game? I mean, he got benched.
They'll play. They know he's a playmaker. They need this win. They're going to play Claypool.
I know, but I like that. So I really like Big Ben this week. He might be my quarterback of the week.
This is again on this big of a slate. Like I think usually these big of slates, you have some higher scoring slates because there's always pieces that go off. You would need this game to be an absolute shootout, and so you definitely have to run it back with a Titan. And if you're playing Big Ben, like you're basically saying Big Ben's throwing 4+ touchdowns. That's the only way Big Ben is going to be in the order.
No,
I mean James Washington had 16.5 fantasy points last week. So
that wouldn't get it.
Write him off.
That wouldn't get it done though in a tournament.
But
if they're going to bench Claypool more, that's a good play for $3,500.
I think they're going to bench Claypool.
He lost in that game celebrating.
He didn't though. That was blown out of proportion. He didn't. They were all running to the line, and if you look back, he stands up and does 10 seconds left.
No excuse for this. Stand up. You're losing. You don't need to point to a first down like a clown. He's an absolute idiot. Come on.
He's playing this game.
Don't defend him.
He's playing side-by-side video of him doing what he did, and then Larry Fitzgerald doing the exact same thing. Catches the ball, runs the ball to the hash, places it down, and lines back up. He could have done that.
Don't even try and rationalize.
I'm just telling you, they lost more time when the guy tried to take the ball from him and it fell and rolled.
Because he was celebrating. The guy wouldn't have gone for it if he went and put it back.
All right. We're back to the DFS.
That's stupid.
But if I'm running
Claypool is playing the entire game.
If I'm running it back, I like
Deonta Foreman in this spot.
I don't mind Foreman. I like Westbrook McKinney. As much as I don't like to say his name, because I've said it multiple times on this podcast before, and he's done that.
Like Julio, why just go back to Julio?
Because I think Julio's not fully healthy, and I think he could be playing the game. I mean, okay, anyone can go in and get hurt right away, But
I just think you could easily see yourself. I mean, obviously, if you're playing a bunch of big Ben lines, you're obviously going to have some Julio because that would, I think, be
yeah. No, I
wrong
think we
not
will.
to.
But
Julio is yet to break 10 points in 6 out of the 7 games he's played this year for $5,400.
Yeah,
It's
but
such a waste
Westbrook.
of money.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about upside.
yeah, I mean, salary wise, I mean, you save 1,200 not playing Julio, and you play Westbrook and Keeney instead. And if it is a shootout, which that's the only way this game is going to get you to the
The
top of the
tournament winner,
table,
right?
is that Julio Jones probably would break 10 points. So I don't know. I'm done talking about the game. Someone else can take over.
My only other player is Deonta Foreman. Like I said a minute ago, we just saw, obviously Deonta Foreman's not Dalvin Cook, but we just saw Dalvin Cook put up 205 yards and 2 touchdowns on this Steelers defense that's still pretty banged up. I think he's a similar running style, kind of like a bruiser with a little bit of speed.
I mean, what's the deal with like him and Hilliard splitting?
Well,
Because,
no, McNichols is back too, which worries me.
yeah.
I mean, but Foreman was
So,
in the pass game. McNichols is their pass catching back, and
Yeah.
so
It's just what is is he pretty cheap?
5,200.
So he's like relatively.
Yeah.
I think I would just see that's why I like James Robinson. I think James Robinson is such a good price at that low 5K range. But yeah, I mean, if you're stacking Pittsburgh, yeah, you'd want a Tennessee piece for sure. Yeah, I like I'll have Big Ben in my player pool. He's not my favorite QB, but I'll have him, and then I don't know. I think I prefer Claypool to Deontay just because of the price difference. But I wouldn't mind doing the double stack with Deontay and Claypool, or Najee and Claypool.
Najee's so expensive this week.
I know he's expensive, but
Tennessee's pretty good against the run. So
yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah, I'd lean Deontay and Claypool as my double stack with Big Ben, but
you can get away with fire move. If he catches for his price tag, he gets so much target and volume in the red zone. Like,
yeah, the Titans aren't the worst against tight ends though.
no, I know that.
Aren't they getting Bud Dupree back?
Yeah, they just activated him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, take that with a grain. I mean, he's older and
I think my favorite run back on the Titans is Julio. So that's kind of what I have from that game. Next game, we have Arizona at Detroit. We'll start off with Alex on this one.
Yeah, with the DeAndre Hopkins news coming out that he's going to miss the rest of the regular season, that's a bummer for him. Awesome player to watch, so that sucks. But in terms of DFS wise, I like AJ Green in this spot against the bad Detroit defense. Put up 100 yards on 10 targets and 7 catches last week, and we've seen him see a little bit more of these. I mean, the game before that, only 1 target, but prior to that, like 5, 8, 7, he's taken up some of the Hopkins targets. So I think he's a good play here.
Nick?
I'm not going to play anyone from this game, honestly. I mean, we always talk about high scoring games is kind of what we shoot for in DFS here. So I don't think it's going to be that. I think the Cardinals will probably run them out of the building, but I just think it's going to be too spread out. AJ Green, if I had to pick someone. So I'm with you there, Alex. But I think with Chase Edmonds coming back, they're probably going to give James Conner a break because he's been running like crazy. That I could see them saving him for the playoffs, let Chase Edmonds get back up to speed. So this seems like a good spot for him to kind of be reintroduced back into the NFL game speed after coming off quite a long injury. So I don't mind the Chase Edmonds play, especially if game script wise, they're blowing him out. He'll probably get a lot of work. Don't like anyone on the Lions really. You could always play DeAndre Swift. So we'll see if he plays, but a lot of contingent injury news there. So I guess I'll stick to AJ Green and Chase Edmonds.
For me, it's this slate I'm looking through, and there's not a lot of I usually like to find my quarterbacks that you can get like shootouts or like back and forth games, but this slate specifically is a lot of just lopsided games. And so I think on this slate more than a lot of other slates, you can get away with like I don't know, for example, if you played Kyler and stacking him, because Kyler's a mobile quarterback, you could do just like a Kyler Christian Kirk. I think Christian Kirk's my favorite pass catcher on the Cardinals this week. And you don't need to necessarily run it back with a Detroit player. You can, but if like Arizona wins this game like 35-10, there's a good chance there's an Arizona player that goes off and no one on Detroit does. So it's kind of some of these like where you're playing an absolutely garbage team, but a really good offense. You don't necessarily have to do a run back. But I don't mind like DeAndre Swift, if he plays, is one of my favorite running back plays of the week. With his role, I mean, and that's where the Cardinals are weakest in their defense is against the run. I love DeAndre Swift. And then if James Conner is out, Chase Edmonds becomes possibly the number one running back play of the slate. I think like I don't know how he wouldn't be having just a bell cow roll at 5,100 in the Cardinals offense against the Lions. So he would become my favorite running back play of the entire slate if Connor's out. But with Edmonds back, I just don't have interest in Connor this week.
He also hurt his ankle at the last.
Yeah, I
half of
can
that
see
game.
them not really needing him this game. I just hope they sit him against Detroit, and then I can just lock Edmonds into a ton of lineups. But yeah, that's kind of where I think I like the running back plays more. But that's kind of me. Corey, did you give any plays yet?
I was going to say the only reason I don't like AJ Green as much. Yeah, he's getting the targets, but he's never had. Monday was the first game he had 7+ receptions. So I know with DeAndre Hopkins being out, that becomes a bigger factor. But DeAndre Hopkins missed again. He wasn't playing with Kyler Murray, so it's a little bit different there. He was playing with Colt McCoy. I think Rondo Moore is probably be one of the more highly owned receivers this week, just for the fact that he's 4,400.
Yeah.
Hopkins is out. Everyone knows Hopkins is out. Everyone knows that, he catches the deep ball. He goes, so it might be a play to pivot off, but I do like the Christian Kirk play. And then, if DeAndre Swift plays here, I think he's a must start for most people. He just, the amount of volume he gets is crazy. So those are the only two really plays I would have. And then if you want, if Swift is missing, I would consider the Arizona defense, since they have not lost on the road yet. The Lions are pretty bad, so it's another play to maybe think about.
Yep. Next game we have the Jets going into Miami. Again, another lopsided game here. We'll start out with Nick on this one.
I love Jalen Waddle. I think every single running back on the Dolphins is going to be out. So it's going to be
Malcolm Brown got activated.
Did they clear him?
I think he'll be activated, and then it'll be like him, and there's a chance Gaskin's clear, because these guys were all on the COVID list last week. So as long as they just get their test before this week, they all could be kind of coming back.
And if they're vaccinated, you just need 2 tests within 48 hours. So there's
we'll see, but there's a chance that like none of them are there besides like Malcolm Brown and Duke Johnson, or Gaskin probably resumes his role.
Yeah. Well, I think they're not at practice right now, so I think they're probably just going to have a pass-heavy game script. Regardless, I mean, I love Gaskins. I think he's had a great end of the year, but Jalen Waddle, I think, solidifies himself. As the same, almost to this, getting to the same tier as a Jamar Chase. So I think you got to play him at his price. So
yeah, Tua is the other quarterback I really like on this slate. For the reasons you guys just laid out, and at 5,700, probably one of like the mid-tier guys. Again, I mean, if you don't, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, on that Tua note, if the Saints can throw the ball on this Jets defense, like, Tua's gonna shred.
Yeah, on that note too, like if you're not going Waddle, you're going Gesicki in my mind. And if you were to run it back, I think a good cheap running back option is Michael Carter, 4,700, going to be the lead back in there again. Ty Johnson and Tevin Coleman may get a couple of carries, but I think Carter shoulders the load. So those would be my three 3 plays here.
I like
Cool.
Devontae Parker. He came back last week. He's at 4,300. Had 5 receptions, 62 yards on 5 targets.
Tua loves Devontae Parker.
He does, and they have no one else there. Okay, they have Waddle and they have Gesicki, but no one on the outside. I know Gesicki lines up as a receiver.
Pretty good too.
Wait, I'm just
Pretty good
Devontae
too,
Parker.
Austin.
He's just interesting. The issue though is I think Gaskin or Ahmed is going to be back this game, and I think that they're going to be able to run the ball. I mean, if that's the case, give me Gaskins at 5,600. I hope that he's a late come off of the COVID-19 list and no one plays him, because
I hope whatever Jet is at, like somehow everyone but one Jet is there, so I could just play that single Jet. I don't have to worry about committee backs. That's what I hope.
Yeah, Malcolm Brown. I'm pretty sure the other day or
You're
today,
talking about Dolphin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
you
I don't
were,
want like all of them to be active.
God, who they just bring in? They just brought in someone.
They have Salvin Ahmed, they have Duke Johnson, they have
Philip
know,
Lindsay.
Malcolm Brown, they have Gaskin. I
Philip
mean,
Lindsay's on COVID.
yeah, they have
had,
like 6 backs.
No, they brought in someone today. They're testing him out. It doesn't matter because
Adrian Peterson.
no,
See, it's on every team.
I don't know who it is, but anyways, but all right. I don't think there's many other plays. Do you have anything from it?
Yeah, Tua is one of my top quarterback. I think cash games is easier to play. Going against the Jets, he's 5,700. Their weapons are coming back. You have like we said, their running back, some of them should be back, and then Parker's back. And I think the only viable run, I don't know, Michael Carter's back and at 4,700. He didn't do as well with Zach Wilson as he did with Flacco and Mike White, but maybe now that they've seen what he could do, they start utilizing him more. So he's probably my favorite run back on the Jets, as long as he's like full go. And yeah, I think my favorite stack with Tua is Devontae Parker. Tua's just always loved throwing Parker the ball. He's super cheap at 4,300 going against this Jets team. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Remember when Mike White said he should have been the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
too
what happened to
popular.
White Lightning.
Zach
Should
Wilson.
have kept Josh Johnson. They just let Josh Johnson go. He's on the Ravens now, so show
Yeah,
5%
dumpster
shine.
fire over there with the Jets. Yeah, I don't mind Waddle too, but I just for $2,300 less, I'll just take Parker. So yeah, that's where I'm at. But love Tua. And the Dolphins defense is definitely one of the best plays. Next game, we have Washington going into Philly, coming out of the bye week. We'll start out with Corey here.
Someone explain to me why Jalen Hurts is priced below 7K.
Because it's still questionable to even play this week.
Is he? I mean, he's he's limited. I think he's going to play. He's just came off a bye week. I mean, the tag doesn't really mean anything to me at this point.
It's not the tag; it's a report like coming from them that they just they don't know.
I know he was limited today, but I think he plays. And
Yeah, he's in his like role. Like then,
I mean, Minshew did great, so kind of
yeah,
a
but I'm talking
quarterback
about fantasy.
controversy.
I'm not talking about like them winning. I understand like Minshew can help them win games and just be like a
Hurts in his normal role at 6,600 would be a terrible misprice. That's a fact.
That's
If he's like 100% ready to go, 6,600 is a massive misprice for him going against Washington.
Yeah. So if he is full go, he's by far my favorite quarterback this week. At 6,600, he runs the ball so much. As a passer, he's getting a little bit better. But again, it really depends on his ankle. If he's full go, if he is, I like pairing him up with, I like Dallas Goedert. He's at 5,300. I think he's their red zone look. And I don't trust any of the running backs in Philly. I refuse to play Miles Sanders.
I can't do it anymore. I swear every week I text you, I cannot play that man one more week. He actually got there that 1 week when he scored 20, I think, but he gets injured he gets injured every game. He leaves the damn game and I can't stand it.
Yeah, and then you move down, you have Gainwell, Howard, and Boston Scott. I mean, that's a roulette that I don't want to play.
Sanders is probably playing this week. No, Sanders is going to be playing this week, but there's just no way I can do that. I won't do it against Washington. I just refuse.
And I think this is because Scary Terry might miss this game. And I don't like anyone on Washington sides catching the ball besides Ricky Seals-Jones.
There you go.
So I think this is a play where you play the Eagles defense too. I think the Eagles defense is a great play, especially if Heineke and he's banged up. He's probably going to play, but Scary Terry hurt too. I mean, who else did they throw the ball to? So
Yeah, I think they're probably going to rely a lot on Gibson and Ricky Seals might become a really good sneaky play.
Gross. He had like one catch last week.
I don't care. You're playing the Eagles now. You just play a tight end when they play the Eagles. It's just it's what you do. And if you did that every week this year, you would have had one of the best tight ends a lot of the weeks. Like they just are terrible against tight ends. But I agree. Hurts is a good play if it's like the report is he's a full go. And if you play the Hurts stack, if you do it with Goddard, I don't necessarily like playing two tight ends with Ricky Seals-Jones. So you kind of have to go Devonta Smith. And the Washington is terrible against receivers. So but if you go Ricky Seals-Jones, you go Devonta Smith. If you go Dallas Goddard with Hurts, then you run it back with probably Gibson. I think Antonio Gibson's the better run back.
I mean, I mean, I'm looking to see the receiving besides Devonta Smith, who caught the ball.
It's Jalen Reagor and Quez Watkins.
Quez Watkins
can't play them. I mean, my thing about Goddard is he's only had 4 touchdowns this year. 2 of them came last time they played.
Yeah, but he had Dallas Goddard's the type of tight end that has like Kittle up and Kelsey upside. He has like we already saw he scored. Yes. What do you mean? Did you not see the game that he had?
He's had one good game, like amazing game.
He had a 31-point game. That is Kittle and Kelsey upside.
Touchdowns. But he's only done it once.
He has a role. He's scored multiple touchdowns before. He's a very good tight end.
He has 4 this year.
Okay.
It's not a ton. That's not like
I don't care that he has a ton. I'm saying he has the upside to win you a slate.
Yeah. And if Minshew looked at him 6 times. If Minshew's in, then you got to expect Minshew to keep throwing the ball to him because he didn't throw the ball to him.
If Jalen Hurts plays, I don't like Goddard at all because he hasn't done much this year. 15 points, great, but like
he has 41 receptions, almost 600 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That's 10 points a game. So when
you're the Millie Maker.
The tight end's always a dumpster fire, and I don't think there's any. What are the pay? I'm gonna look.
So you're gonna spend $5,400 at tight end on someone who's averaging 10 points.
You have to understand at the tight end position, a position that
I understand it's very touchdown dependent.
No, it's it's ugly. You don't have even like Kelsey and Waller. You have Kittle on the slate, but he's priced at 7,500. So he's not even like
I like Gesicki and Dawson Knox, who are both cheaper than Goddard. As much upside.
I would bet you straight up that Goddard has a better game than which one of those guys you want to pick.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, side bet.
All right, moving on. Unless someone else has anything else to say.
No, that's it. Hurts is obviously a very good play if they come out and he's full go. It's just who do you stack them with? It's up to you. Next game, we have Carolina going into Buffalo. Again, another lopsided game, but we have Buffalo with still close to a 30-point team total. So there's fantasy points to be had. We'll start out with Alex on this one.
Yeah. Obviously, like you're saying, one-sided here. I'm not going to pick, I don't think, any Panthers. The one piece that stuck out to me, because I know you guys are going to have some other plays here too, but the Bills defense at 3,100, I think that's a great price.
That'll be the, I believe, the cash game chalk. That'll be like the chalk defense.
Yeah.
So I think in tournaments, you kind of have to get away from them.
Yeah.
But we'll see what ownership says as it rolls in throughout the week. But if they somehow are low owned, they're an incredible play.
Yeah. Nick, you were talking about Knox.
I think he's coming back. I mean, a couple weeks healthy. He's definitely
Sanders is out now too.
Yeah, Manny Sanders, but I actually like Gabriel Davis. If I had to pick a receiver, he's kind of coming into that offense and making a big splash. So receiver wise, I think I like Knox and Gabriel Davis.
Corey?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't. I like the Gabriel Davis called there, Nick. If you want to get completely different and move down to, he's 3,700. He's been coming alive lately. And even Emmanuel Sanders, I think Emmanuel Sanders has lost that role as the outside guy there.
Just getting old. And I think Gabriel Davis, like he's actually like kind of good. Like I don't think
He is good. He is good.
He's on
Yeah.
8-4-3-4-3 for targets. So, and he got 8 targets against Tampa Bay, who's not very good in secondary. And Carolina's pretty good, has pretty
Yeah,
good
that's the thing
secondary.
about Carolina. They at least have a decent defense.
Yeah, so I don't really love this game that much.
I don't either.
I said, Josh Allen was probably the play last week, and he ended up being, the play for quarterback, paying up for him. And I like him again just for his rushing upside as well. I think
But he is an ankle thing.
I know he's the ankle thing, but it's toe. So
Toe.
turf toe, it might be a little bit more of an issue. You can't play any run. You can't trust any of the running backs in Buffalo.
Or Carolina.
Or Carolina.
This is a terrible DFS game. Like that's.
Robbie. Okay, I will say Robbie Anderson. He, 12 targets last week, 7 receptions, 84 yards, and a touchdown.
But didn't Sam Darnold just get activated?
New offensive coordinator too.
What do you say, Peeps?
Sam Darnold was activated, wasn't he?
Was he?
Yeah.
Is likely still a week
away.
A week or two away. So,
DJ Moore is banged up with a hammy. Like this game is just terrible for DFS.
Yeah.
It's going to be lower scoring. It's going to be like I don't see a piece from this game.
Maybe Cole Beasley, 4,900.
I think Gabriel Davis honestly probably has the like just because he's so cheap and he's going to be like
37.
He just can have that one play upside and at his price just blow a slate open. So, honestly, he's like the only one that I could see like blowing the slate out of the water. And you're just like,
this could be a Cole Beasley game too, because I think the thing is with Cole Beasley though is he has to get in the end zone at least 2 times because last week he had 9 receptions, but only had 64 yards.
Yeah.
So and he's only scored 1 time this entire year. He has 72 receptions, 605 yards. I don't know what that equates to in like.
Beasley is such a hard because he just has ups. I would just rather play Gabe Davis. He has he looks to him in the end zone when they're in the red zone, and then he also can have that big play upside and catch a long one. So exactly. I just think he's the better tournament play.
I'm just like playing the story in my head that Beasley gets 9 receptions, 80 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and
that's what you kind of need. Yeah,
at 4,900. But again, Dawson Knox is back and healthy, and he snakes a lot of end zone.
Panthers are good against tight ends, so I don't like Knox either. Yeah,
I'm interested. I'll probably have a couple lines with Beasley. I just for some reason every time I scroll past his name, I cannot not click.
But yeah, Bills defense probably your cash game defense as of now. They're such a good play at their price. Next game we have Atlanta going into San Francisco.
No, you missed Cincy Denver.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Cincy going into Denver. I don't know. This is an interest. I think this is at least like one of the first games we had that could be like closer. So it's like if somehow, but it's still some decent defenses, so it's hard to see it like shooting out. But what are your thoughts here, Nick?
Yeah, I'm interested to see who Surtain will go on. I think he's kind of like a lockdown guy, so it makes me like.
Chase has gone up against him, hasn't he? Like they went up against each other in college.
Yeah, they sure did back in the SEC days.
Sure.
Yeah, but I think T. Higgins, he was a Clemson guy too, so they might have seen each other in some college football playoffs.
He'd probably have more success against Higgins.
Everyone in Cincy is saying that T. Higgins is the number 1 guy now. which
He's had 300-yard games in a row.
yeah, like I don't know if I believe that.
I still
but,
believe Chase is the alpha, but I've said it since the beginning of the year that the Bengals offense is very, very good. And I took all the receivers overs on their yards this year, and it seemed like I'm going to hit at minimum 2 out of 3. Boyd could still hit his, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I think one of the two there is a play because I think they're going to have to pass a lot. Not necessarily to catch up, but I think just to put up points. I think that's just going to be how they win. Joe Mixon, I don't know if he really gets done. They're a really good defense. But I got to go to my boy Javonte. He feels like the guy that I'm going to just have on my fantasy team for like the next 5 years. I've been doing the same thing with Austin Eckler. I think I'm on like year 3 or 4, just like on the Eckler bandwagon. So Javonte Williams.
With Melvin Gordon there, like
even with last week, he put up 20 plus points. So
he put up.
I think they're at the point where they're kind of saying, okay, this guy's an absolute wagon. Like we can't bench him.
Yeah.
So he's had his breakout games. He's just completely dominated and he hasn't slowed down. Like they're not going to continue to put Melvin Gordon in that position if he's not excelling. Especially because they're going for the playoffs.
They're using Melvin Gordon as like still their alpha back.
Yeah, he had 24 carries, 111 yards, and 2 touchdowns last week. Javonte Williams did have a good game. I mean, both running backs had good games against Detroit.
Yeah, but
it's hard to. It's hard to imagine. I mean,
at 6.1K too. It's like think about all the other backs we've mentioned. We had DeAndre Swift in the 6Ks. We had James Robinson at 5.4. We could have Chase Edmonds at it's tough to play a back in a committee.
I mean, I love Javonte Williams.
I do too. He's incredible.
I mean, their backfield put up 50 points last week between the two of them. It's hard. But it's like the same. I think it's the same thing like playing Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. Like I have no problem playing either of them. Like they each have their own roles.
Yes,
they both have upside. I understand 99% of the time you don't like playing committee backfields, but Teddy Bridgewater's garbage. Like it sucks because Judy and Sutton I think are amazing receivers and we'll never see their ceiling because of Bridgewater.
Well, until next year when one of these elite quarterbacks go there.
Yeah. But for the time being, like we're stuck just watching them run the ball for, the 3/4 of the game at least. So I think the potential's there. Like I don't know. I just like them a lot.
I like a couple plays here. Cortland Sutton keeps getting. I mean, they continue to go every week without needing to pass the ball very often, and they just gave him a massive contract. And he's had 48 receptions entire year, which is crazy because he's so good. He's so talented. And Jerry Jeudy at 5,400. I think so. Either I'm thinking, playing this out in my head. I think the Denver Broncos win this game. And with that being said, I don't like the receiving core as much. I like the Broncos defense at 2,900. I think it's a good tournament dart throw with Joey Burrow still banged up. I understand he didn't. I mean, he did pretty well last week. 25 of 34, 348, 2 touchdowns. So I don't know. This game could go either way. At 6,100, I don't mind Joey B, but if you're thinking this game's going to be a shootout, like it could be, I just don't think the Denver defense will allow it to go that far. And I think they're going to control the game and run the ball a lot. And with that being said, I know Nick talked about Javonte Williams, but you can't. It's playing Russian roulette. What running back's gonna have a good game? And I'd rather pay somewhere else for at 6,100 and 5,900. But maybe Noah Fant at 4,400, maybe a flyer there. He's looked pretty decent in the entire year. But other than that, I really don't have many plays from this game.
Yeah, I don't really have any plays from this game either, even though it is one of the closer games. I just think these defenses are decent enough. Denver likes to run, keeps it lower scoring. I don't mind either of the defenses on that 900. I don't mind either of those. They'll be in my player pool. But I mean, I guess I'm
How
just
many
gonna-
carries do you guys consider like a full workload?
20 plus, I guess.
20
No,
plus.
I think like a good size workload. Like if you get 15 plus carries, you had a pretty solid workload.
Yeah. Just
Now,
curious.
touches like to be like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Because I mean, again, it was the Lions, so it's skewed a
Yeah,
bit.
the
But
Lions.
the past 3 games, he's had at least 15 carries, and I think I'm more confident in him producing on those 15 carries than a lot of running backs.
That's fine if he's in the 5Ks. I'm interested, but getting into the 6K range, I
Yeah.
have
Tony
other-
Gibson's the same price, so
Yep, you have other guys that I just like more.
Yeah,
But
see what you're
Jamar
saying.
Chase is going to be in my player pool every single week. He's been in 3 Millie Maker winners this year already, out of what 13, 14 weeks. So
He didn't get there with the yards. He got there with the 2 touchdowns.
that's
So
what he does. That's what Chase does. He scores touchdowns, and he also can add yards in his big game. So at 7,100, I know that's kind of expensive, but just
I
because
think
of his
there's better.
big.
I think there's better matchups elsewhere.
Oh
but
yeah,
I-
there's
I-
better
I-
matchups, but I'm just talking about like
Yeah.
this
No, I
isn't
know.
like it's just his range of outcomes is bigger than most players in the whole league. Like he could score like 6, but he could score like 35. So
No, I
I
totally.
just think you have to include him in your player pool. So yeah, that's about it from that game. Don't have interest in the quarterbacks though. Next we have Atlanta going into San Francisco. Kind of some little people. I saw Elijah Mitchell still banged up. George Kittle missed practice. I don't know what that'll turn into, but what are your thoughts here, Alex?
Yeah, another guy who all he does is score touchdowns, Debo Samuel. I think especially with George Kittle banged up, I think he'll still play, but they may.
He's so expensive. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
he
I
put
mean,
up
the last-
2 back-to-back 40-point weeks. I mean,
Insane.
I don't know if like many people have done that in recent history outside of maybe Jonathan Taylor.
especially
Go
tight
Colts.
end, right? Like no one tight end.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking about Kittle, Nick. I'm talking about Debo
Debo.
is 82.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
yeah.
Kittle is like 75, I think.
Also really expensive for a tight end.
Yeah, it's like super expensive for a tight end, but
What's Debo at?
8,200.
Yeah. I still think with Kittle the last 2 games, I think it's a knee injury, like he like knocked knees or something like that. You might see
Bone
him in a
bruise.
blocking role a little bit more here. And especially too, if Mitchell doesn't play, Debo's then set up to get a little bit more carries too. So I think him, and I honestly at 6,300, Ayuk's been coming on the scene here too. If you're looking for someone a little bit lower price tag,
Who's that?
Ayuk.
Oh, yeah.
I have a question for you guys. How many targets do you think Debo Samuel has combined in the last 3 games? Combined.
I'm looking at it. So
Don't answer that, Corey.
Yeah, I'm looking at
I
it too.
can't. I just looked. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
6 targets.
Right, but in those games he's put up more.
I
than
know,
that.
and
Yeah,
it's
that's what I'm
nutty
saying.
because they use him as like a running back now. kind of
okay,
too.
so that's my thing
Yeah.
there. So at 8,200, you're essentially paying. You get 2 positions out of 1 player,
Right.
You do,
and if he's touching the ball, okay, they didn't.
and it's the Falcons.
Okay,
Yeah.
Right.
I think
and
it's
he's coming off a
hot
growing injury.
team,
He's coming off
too,
a
like-
growing injury that
Here's what I'll say is if you like Debo this week, you're going to get him at very extremely low. I would guess he's going to be under 5% owned because I'll tell you the receivers that are in his price range. You have
Devontae.
Cooper Kupp at 9,000, Diggs at 7,700, Deontay Johnson at 7,500, and Devontae Adams at only $700 more. There is nobody. I mean, maybe I just can't see it. People are not. They're going to look and see. Oh, they're going to look at his target volume and just be like, I can't play 82. They're going to always go to Adams, Kupp, or these other guys beneath them over Debo.
especially the only way he constitute for that salary is if Mitchell's out. If Mitchell's in, then I kind of lean against not paying for him. But if Mitchell's
I
out,
think Mitchell misses. I do.
no, okay, so that's what I'm saying. So then I think he's a better running back than Jeff Wilson, and I mean, who else do they have back there? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that's like, I know Alex goes to the well every week with Debo.
He's
And
been like Chase. I think Debo's also been in 3
Not a
of
bad person to go to the well with.
Debo's been in like 3 of the Millie Maker winners this year out of the 13 or 14 weeks we've played. So
There you go.
yeah, I mean, he's had quite a nice hit rate in large field tournaments. I like Jimmy G. I
I was
think
just thinking that,
as
yeah.
long as you playing the Falcons, you can have interest in the quarterback against them. I think you have to have a little interest in Jeff Wilson if Mitchell's out just at 5,000 because Atlanta's run defense is also not good. And we've seen what they can do with 49er running back sometimes, and they run the ball so much and they just get some goal line work and fall into the end zone twice with 100 yards and boom, you're there. So I think I would have some interest in Wilson. Cordero Patterson is kind of like, he's still, his floor like has been so good. Like he scored like basically 13 points or more every single game. But I think his snap volume, he's still getting, like, if you look at his touches, they're up there, but his snap volume's not, they're playing Mike Davis a little bit more. So I don't really like him. I have other interested running back 6,900. I like Ayuk at 6,300. I think I like him more if Debo is playing for sure, right?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, yeah. But I like him more if Kittle plays, just because I know defenses are going to worry about Kittle a lot, and that opens a lot of things up for Ayuk. So I like Ayuk more if Kittle plays. Kittle is, I mean, he's at 7,500. But I mean, good gracious, he still has the upside to still pay that off, especially against the Falcons.
He must be a guy who was in a couple Millie Makers here too these past couple weeks.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's been in the winner, I think, a couple weeks. At 7,500, I'm going to keep him in my player pool just because, like, I mean, what's the difference really between Debo and Kittle, except Kittle's 700 cheaper and Kittle's at a premium position like tight end, where like getting those points matters even more and can really separate themselves from like these shitty tight ends. So I just have to include him for that reason. And I always, I'm a Kyle Pitts truther, so I've always included him in my player pool. It's only worked out a few times this year, but I'm going to keep going back to him. He's such a good talent. He'll be the new Travis Kelce very soon. So
I like Russell Gage at 5,800 with his involvement the last couple of weeks. I think he's emerged as the number one option there with Ridley being out. So I think he's a look at if you're going to be stacking this game. I think he's the clear cut bring back, in my opinion. I think he's more of a bring back than, I guess he's 300 more than Pitts. So maybe not the bring back, but
one of those two probably.
Yeah, I just, the amount of volume he's receiving the last 4 weeks, I think it's hard to overlook.
San Fran's a lot better against tight ends than receivers, though. Especially right now, they got some injuries in the secondary.
Yeah,
but Fred Warner is
Yeah.
Not one to mess with.
Is that it?
Yeah.
All right. Like 2 games left. Next game is kind of in the air with Lamar, but we have Green Bay going into Baltimore. Don't know if Lamar is going to play or not with his ankle. This could have been like the game to kind of go to if Lamar is just perfectly healthy. Like this could have been it, but now could just be like a low scoring dud. But what do you think here, Nick?
My lock of the week for a tight end position is Mark Andrews.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, with Hudley, I think looks like Lamar, but he does not force the ball downfield, and they still pass a decent amount. So he's kind of always looking for Mark Andrews.
Green Bay, though, like they have solid against tight ends and just a good defense.
They do have a great defense.
I'm shocked.
And it's not to discount them. I just think that Baltimore's they're in a must-win situation.
But
like everyone's chomping at the bits to beat them out in the AFC North, so they're going to have to pass a lot to keep up with the Packers. And I think that's what it ultimately comes down to: is you get the ball in the hands of your playmakers. Harbaugh is a traditional guy like that, and that's kind of his methodology. Like you let your playmakers win the game. And I think that Mark Andrews is in the prime spot right here to just
I
get a
don't think
heavy
I think-
workload day.
I think Harborough has a much different game plan for this game. I think it's going to be running the ball a ton, keep the
You
ball
say
out of
Harborough?
heart. Yeah, what
Harborough?
heart, whatever. Whatever. My point is
Harbaugh.
Harbaugh. Yes. My point is, I think his game plan in this
No
game
L.
is keeping the ball out of Rodgers' hands and running the ball with whoever. Like I think
Freeman
that's
and
gonna, I don't
David
think it's
Carter.
gonna be passing the ball that much. And I'm not gonna put any faith in Hundley to pay for $6,400 Mark Andrews. I just pay $1,100 more and get George Kittle if I'm gonna pay the up at tight end. Like I just, if Lamar's in, like I can see it, but I just cannot see Mark Andrews at that price with that quarterback at all.
I think this is a game where I think the Ravens front office is like, hey, like we're still in control of the AFC North. It's going to be close, but if we play Lamar this game and he gets hurt again on that angle, we're
Done.
screwed. And I don't think they take that risk. I think they rather take the risk on the backside and be like, you give them a full week to get healthy, or basically 2 weeks to get healthy.
And then when they like absolutely need it, they put him in.
Exactly. So I don't think he plays this game. And then if he was playing at 7,200, that's a ridiculous price tag for someone who's banged up and can only really put up points running the ball.
Yeah.
Until they prove differently, I'm playing Devontae Adams almost.
Yeah. I mean, this against this Ravens defense, are you kidding me?
Yeah. The way the Ravens think they're going to try to win this game is, having the Packers turn the ball over, which Aaron Rodgers doesn't do very often. And the way they're going to do that, they're going to be blitzing a lot. They blitz one of the most I think they blitz the most out of like any team in the NFL.
Maybe the Dolphins. I know
They
the
do a
Dolphins.
zero coverage blitz too, which means that they're asking their cornerbacks to stay on one-on-one with receivers. And Devontae Adams is the best receiver in the NFL, like by almost a country mile, in my opinion. He's unmatchable. He's unguardable. He's amazing. And at 8,900, I want to stack him with Aaron Rodgers too, because Aaron Rodgers hates media and he just loves going out every week and just burning.
Scorched earth Aaron is not to be played with.
But are you worried? I get if Lamar's in, like what maybe this game's, but like I just don't know if like. So okay, let's say 3/4, but then they just give the ball to Dylan for that whole fourth quarter when they're up like 17 points. Like that's what I worry
points
about.
to the Bears put up against that defense. Like they're not like some lockdown units.
But
they're
it's
good.
great, dude. It's not. This is a terrible Ravens quarterback. If it's not Lamar, they're not going to be competitive.
Yeah, I don't think they will be either. So that's again, and to your point, PB, I think if it gets to that issue, like we're talking about, it's end of the third quarter. Packers are up, 15, 16 points. Like we're just going to burn clock. I think Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, or at least Devontae Adams, gets to his ceiling by, at halftime, midway through the third quarter.
Ceiling at halftime? Are you kidding me?
Just
to let you know, Aaron Rodgers' ceiling, because he's not. I mean, he rarely.
I meant Devontae Adams. I didn't mean.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was like, that would be insanity.
No.
I could see. I mean, still for Adams to pay off 9,000 at halftime, that's hard to believe. Like, I think he needs a full game to do that.
I don't think he does. I think he just needs 8 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns, which is very doable.
Yeah, I think that's what he would need for sure. But I just don't know if we can do that in half. I mean, he can. I just don't.
I think the Ravens defense is just so depleted right now, and I think this is a game where they just got slaughtered.
Yeah, I just like a one-off play of Adams more than I do like stacking. I even like Marquez Valdes-Scantling because he's a player that he still has Rodgers as his quarterback, but he's one of those players that can just break a long one against this Ravens team and being a winner. So he's done that before this year.
I had him. That was the week I went nuclear.
Yeah. So that's kind of my only and the Packers D if Lamar's not in.
They'll be the highest owned defense if Lamar's out. So
the Bills will be up there, but yeah, the Packers would be up there too. Last
Sleeping
game,
Tyler Huntley.
Yeah, Tyler Huntley is trash. The Browns just couldn't stop him, but I don't know. I don't think that quarterback good at all.
11 for 11. I didn't know he did that. That's a crazy stat line for a tight end. 11 for 11.
Yeah.
All
But
right, moving on.
yeah, we have I think this is one of the better games that you can actually stack because I think it could be a close game in this divisional matchup. We have Seattle going into Los Angeles. Start off with Nick on this one. What are your plays here?
So OBJ is going to be out.
Yep.
I love Van Jefferson. Seattle pass defense is terrible, so I think him and Cooper Kupp, you got to play one of them. You need some exposure, I think, and that's set up. So whoever you go with, I think you're not going to be disappointed. What's going on with Darrell Henderson? Is he going to be back?
I think he will be back, but I honestly hope he's not because the Rams is now a backfield because Michelle has looked decent and serviceable enough to where they
Playable.
like where they don't just give Henderson like the 90% snaps that he was seeing before. And if you see like a 60-40, then like both of them aren't playable. So I prefer just one of them to be out and then you just can play the other one as an amazing play.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I just don't know what happens yet.
Yeah, I think you saw Davis Mills put up an incredible game against this secondary. They're really missing Jamal Adams. So, everyone's like, all right, beat Seattle on the ground. They're terrible. And I'm like, their defense is going to get beat in every angle that you play. So I definitely like the opposing offense here for the rest of the season. But I kind of would be interested to play Tyler Lockett as well, because I do think it'll be a pretty high scoring game.
Yeah,
I want to play DK, but it's not there anymore.
We keep saying it's like, oh, it's got to be DK week. Got to be, and it's not.
I know.
It's going to be. It's going to be. It is going to be.
Not this week. I don't think it's this week.
I think it could be this week.
Okay, if the only reason it is this week is because this game ends like 42-35, which
I think it could end like 30-27. If it's in the upper 20s and the 30s, DK could easily have 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, but now they get Ramsey back now.
Ramsey does not shadow.
Okay, but he's okay.
He's a factor.
Okay. Do you want to know what Metcalf's stat line against the Rams the last time they played was?
It was pretty good. It was like he went for like 2 touchdowns, like 100 yards.
Correct.
Yeah, I know he had a good game. I'm not disagreeing with you, but also that was early in the year when the Seahawks were more healthy. They're not that healthy this time around. I think the Rams defense line puts pressure on Russell, and
I agree with that.
And I think it's going to cause issues. And I think it's going to cause a couple interceptions from Russell. So I don't like Russell Wilson at this spot. If anything, I'm taking Stafford again. He torches terrible defenses, as we know. He torches good defense when he wants to. And I think the Stafford Cup is a great. Cup is getting to that point as Devontae Adams as well. He had 15 targets against Arizona.
I think Cup this week. I think he's going to score like 6 more points than Devontae Adams.
Well,
like in projection wise, with the volume Cups gets, it's like
they brought him down. He put up 34 points and they lowered his salary 100.
I'm just saying, like projection wise, like Cup almost projects for like 7 more points than Devontae Adams. That is unbelievable. Like projection wise, to see a receiver projected for 7 more points than Devontae Adams, that is out of this world.
Yeah, well, they use Cup. It's not like he runs like 80 yards down the field. He's probably one of the top 3 receivers.
And Odell's out.
Yeah.
Well, that's why he's also projected for like 7 more points. Like from projection standpoints, I can see Cooper Kupp at 28.3 points, Devontae Adams at 22 points.
Yeah.
So six more points than Adams.
So with that,
for almost 30 points.
Higbee's also in play, I think, as well. 4K. I think he's going to go overlooked. And whatever you do not play Rashard Penny. Don't play him. He's not. He had a good game against the Texans, and people are going to be all over that. James Conner, the only reason James Conner had a good game because he caught the ball out of the field and caught 9 times. He ran the ball 15 times for 31 yards against this team. Do not play Rashard Penny. That's
he's
my
not,
last.
he's a very, very thin play. And yeah,
No.
I love this game. I do. This is like when you call the late night hammer, like all the people that have played their lines that think they might be looking good. And then this game comes in and can just like blow everyone out with the winning plays. And for me, I like Stafford. I think he's play. You can stack him with. It's such a condensed target share, so it's so easy. You can do Stafford, Van. You could do, you could do Cup, Van, Cup, Higbee, or Van and Higbee. Like you just do those combinations, and you run it back with DK Metcalf. Like he's. And then if I play the Seattle side, which I am, I'm going to play Russell Wilson with DK, and then run it back with one of those Rams receivers. But I just love this game. Like I think this is going to be a faster paced game than people might think. And I think this is the DK week. We've seen Lockett kind of having the big weeks, but man, DK has been so close on several occasions to have a big game. And I think it's coming, and it's coming here. So
This is definitely the game to target.
yeah, because
looking at the rest of the slate, the only other one that really jumps out other than one-sided stuff is like maybe I can't even say Dallas Giants. Like
yeah, and even that's still like a 10 point spread or something. I guess Corey's game is like the next like because the Denver Cincy game could be close, but the defenses are still like the Tennessee Pittsburgh game is one where you could see shootout just because of the defense is playing terribly. And then I think like for example, like Chase Edmonds is in, I'll get my Arizona piece. If Connor's out, I'll get my piece from like Edmonds, and like getting the teams with the really high team totals. That's kind of, and then stack up the Seattle Rams game. But yeah, I just love the Seattle Rams game. I hope Henderson's ruled out so I can play some Michelle.
Hey, for that, do you want to pay me now for that we had earlier in the year?
I thought we said without injury.
I said major injury.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, you can pay me for the Broncos one.
Well, we're head neck and neck in that one right now. Just let you know.
It's just without a doubt. If you think the Colts defense is better than the Broncos, like it's just you.
I said finish. When I said that, I said finish higher fantasy value. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see when the Patriots smack the Colts.
Why do you guys like Tyler Higbee?
Because he's now with Odell out, he's gonna have a much higher target share.
I like Score, whatever his name is, Score.
Ben Skorsklansky or something.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
The third, but I just think he'll get a few. Like he'll be the low owned guy on the Rams.
It'd be a good showdown slate to throw him in there. If you're playing showdown on a Sunday, this would be the slate I play, and he's gonna be highly owned, obviously, but I'd play him. But
what's his name?
Ben Skawansky or something. He's the guy that would have been the third receiver if Odell didn't come and Woods was out. Like he would have been the guy.
All right, let's get to our lineup.
Conviction.
Oh yeah. So,
all right, conviction plays. We'll start at quarterback. We'll start with Corey.
I'm gonna stick with Big Ben. I think he brings a lot of upside, and I think he can get there this week.
Nick.
I like Jalen Hurts if he plays.
Oh, I forgot about Jalen.
I'll go Dak.
Tua cash game, but Russ for tournaments. That's kind of where I'm at. Running back. We'll start. Well, if someone knows theirs, just say it. Otherwise, I can give you a second.
I like Chase Edmonds as long as he plays.
Like even if Connor plays?
Yeah. I think they're gonna give Connor a break. I think he's a little banged up. He's had to carry a full workload for a long time. So they need to get Chase Edmonds back up to speed before this playoff run. So good time to do it against the Lions.
This is a terrible week for running backs, but I'm gonna go with man. I guess I'm going with Gibson against Philly.
Hey, you didn't really talk about him much, but okay.
I know. I realized
It's going to be their only offense.
I realized I didn't really talk about many running backs this week because I just don't like it.
It's not
anymore.
great.
No.
A lot of
Really likes
names.
Jonathan.
Alex?
The only guy I really talked about was Foreman, so I'll go with Deontay Foreman.
Mine is definitely with Nick. But mine's only if Connor's out. It's Edmonds definitely. But if Connor's in, it's James Robinson.
I'm going to switch mine to DeAndre Swift if he's in.
Yeah, he was like
Yeah.
he's like my next one.
Okay.
But next we have wide receiver.
Man.
Debo.
Debo.
I mean, this is a week you pay up for receivers. I think it's the only way to go. I think you play Devontae Adams till he's 12K. So I'm going to Devontae Adams. I know it's chalky and it's expensive, but it's the play.
Well, for the super expensive, it would be Cup for me over Devontae. But for just like one that'll be lower owned, I think will be lower owned is DK Metcalf.
I like Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, and then close second would be Deontay Johnson. But I know we're only supposed to give one, but
Yeah, I just like because like one like Cooper Cup will be super chalky, just like
Yeah.
Adam, but Metcalf maybe will be lower owned, and that's like my favorite tournament receiver. Alex, you gave one, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Debo, yeah. Tight end.
Gesicki.
I like Higbee.
Mark Andrews. Sticking with it.
Oh man, I'm always gonna target the Eagles, so we're going with Ricky Seals Jones as long as he's in.
All right.
But yeah, so now we'll go ahead and build our lineup. All right. Anyone really have the quarterback that they want to play?
I feel like we should like target a game here as well, as opposed to just like bouncing around picks. Because we last week stacked a garbage game to stack.
Well, we
I personally, I mean, I was wrong, but that was like one of my favorite stacks of the week. That's why I did bad in DFS this last week. But I thought Lawrence could have had a good game against that terrible defense.
True.
But okay, so I mean, is there a game that we have favorite? Like personally, it's Seattle Rams, but
That's my thought too. I kind of like San Fran and Atlanta too. For some reason, I think that'll be high scoring.
I don't mind. Yeah, that one's another one I could. But
I just don't. I don't love the quarterbacks there. I mean, Jimmy G maybe.
Yeah, I would play Jimmy G for sure in the quarterback there, but I don't know. I say we do.
I'd rather go get Stafford.
Rams, Seattle, but I'm gonna probably have the quarterback different from you guys.
Well, yeah, you mean you've already said like Russell.
Yeah, but I'm assuming you guys would pick Stafford.
Yeah.
The only reason I would go Stafford is because actually, I mean, I don't know.
If we do Stafford, I think we go with the double stack. I think we go Russ. We do the single because it's the DK and Lockett are too expensive to pair together. So I don't know. What do you guys? I guess I don't mind if we
someone just take control and if this is the game we're doing it, then just
okay. So if you put Cup in there, and then
run it back with DK.
Yeah, run it back with DK and probably Higbee, right, Corey?
Yeah, that's where I'd go.
I mean, Van's only.
Yeah, but I don't want to. I would rather go Van and Higbee or Cup and Higbee.
All right.
I know I
think that
it's for the price of the stack.
I know. I just hate paying down for tight ends.
Higbee's one that can catch touchdowns though. So, running. So what does that leave us? 4,700.
Yeah. So let's get a cheaper defense in here.
Let's see. Let's start at the bottom and go up.
You want to do one of the Jets or the Jags?
No.
Or the Jags or Texans? I mean.
Oh yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind.
That really
I would prefer the Jags. I would definitely take the Jags over the Texans D. But I don't mind either of them at the same price. The Jags just at home.
That opens it up a little bit.
Okay, so we have 5,200. Man, I think we need to get one of those 5K running backs in there, whether that's Edmonds, or James Robinson, and then that would stack with Jags defense too.
Yeah, give me Edmonds. I think he's going to do amazing.
I think he only has upside if Connor's out. I don't see how Edmonds, the pass catching back, is going to do
I mean,
anything.
I'd rather go James Robinson, but let's
Yeah.
go with Edmonds, but keep him in there.
We can always, if Connor
Yeah.
plays, we can flip the two. They're pretty much the same price.
Do we wanna
Now
do both?
we need like a 6K running back, I think, like in that range. So whether that's
Swift.
Tony.
Swift, Corey, do you want to get your Swift in there?
Yeah, if he's full go, I like Swift a lot.
I hate playing running backs on the same game though, because like game script wise, it can.
All right, okay, and then let's go
Pop
Gibson.
Edmonds out then.
Let's do Robinson. And,
Okay.
the guy we were talking about there.
We're going to have 2 Jags. Ugh.
Yeah, it's
What's
a
defense?
correlated stack. It's your
Yeah,
it's your running back and defense.
But we're gonna have to dig deep to the well here for a receiver.
Yeah, let's get. There was something in the 3K.
Devontae Parker.
Oh yeah, Devontae Parker.
What was he?
He was like 4,300.
Or Gabriel Davis for 37.
I don't mind either of those. Let's see what we can get at 5K though.
5,600 leaves you with, you take Gaby.
You could get Wilson. If we had Gabe Davis over Parker,
Yeah, 5,600. So you could get Gaskin if he plays. You get to Gallup. You
Ooh.
you go Julio.
let me see here.
I mean, if Gaskin is full go at 5,600, that's not.
You could get Van and then you get another tight end. Then you don't have to
oh yeah,
stack,
what other tight ends are?
You go down.
or
Like,
at
If we
4K.
went Van, because Van is a really good play. What
Yeah,
other
he's
sports?
so
Is
cheap.
Ricky Seals in there around 4? Or is he more?
34.
Oh, but then who else is around 4? You don't want to leave. You only want to leave like max like 200.
I mean,
Everett. And then
We
Yeah.
could we upgrade our defense to like I wonder what we could upgrade our defense if we put in Ricky Seals.
you can get the.
It gives us a lot. I mean, that gives you the Bills defense.
Yeah,
Packers
but they'll
could
be
always-
chalky. They'll be super chalky.
Packers could be if Lamar doesn't
Niners.
play. Niners.
Niners aren't. Matt Ryan does throw the ball a lot. You could get some picks. That's what you want is a quarterback that throws a lot. I would say 49ers in that range just because they'll be lower owned than. And Carolina, like, yeah,
They're
They-
kind of beat up though.
who?
49ers secondary.
Yeah, but they can still bring pressure. I think. I don't know. I think it's just a better play than playing a chalky defense.
Yeah, you get a Bosa sack or 2 at least.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a pretty solid.
I like the
line.
lineup.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Contingent on Swift playing, but I do like it.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then of course if Edmonds plays, you always can swap
Yeah.
too. And
Nice.
then upgrade even more at defense. We'd have like another 600 to go up. But yeah, that wraps up this episode of Chalk Talk. Hopefully you guys found some good plays in here. Anyone have anything else to say at the
Yeah.
end?
Like, comment, and then also send us winning lineups that you had. We
If
can
you
post
took
them.
any of our convictions or something.
Yeah, PB will post on our social media.
I don't know. You can do that. Yeah.
PatrickBarnesVines.com.
That's it.
That's about it for this episode, and we'll see you guys next week for week 16.
All right, peace.